In this video, we will learn how your patrons will log in, search, and place requests through Find More Illinois. Let's begin by getting to know the SHAREit interface, the software that powers Find More Illinois. Your patron might get to the library's SHAREit interface from your library's catalog or from the Find More Illinois website. If you were directed to SHAREit from your library's catalog, you will see your library's name and logo at the top left corner. Moving to the right, we see a language icon, and patrons can use this to change to their preferred language. Next to that, we have a drop-down that patrons can use to decide how they would like to search. They can select all fields, author, title, subject, and so on. After selecting that, patrons can type the item that they're looking for in this search bar in the middle of our homepage. Next to the search bar, patrons also have the option to run an advanced search. This gives them the ability to search by filter, for example, by audience level, awards, year of publication, languages, lexile, and many other options. While we expect most patrons to find their items directly from the search bar, this is a great resource for some savvy searchers. Lastly, on the top right-hand corner of this page is the Hello Guest, Please Log In button. We will review that in a bit, but note that this is where it lives. Now let's jump into how to search and review results on SHAREit. Let's say our patron is searching for Pride and Prejudice. They would simply type that in the search bar. Now there are a few ways to organize these results. Starting with the left-hand side of our page, these filters work similar to how they do on PowerPact. Patrons can search by format. They can search by author, title, subject, so on. Up at the top right-hand corner, they can organize their search results by group. They can have it clustered, they can choose no grouping, they can merge title, author, and publisher all together. Next to group, we have the sort dropdown, where your patron can search by relevance, title, author. Next to that, we see results, and this simply allows patrons to choose how many results they see on the page at once. Next to results, we have this icon, and this changes the way that the results pop up on our page. So we are currently on list view, but your patron can also view the results in gallery view. I like list view, so we'll hop back to that and take a look at our results. All right, so there are a few things that we're noticing here. We can see the record's title. We can see the author right below it. We have a cover photo and 3 columns listed here. We have format, request, and list. Under format, we're able to learn what type of material it is that we're looking at. Next to format, we have the request icon. The request button appears for formats that have a single record associated with them. Notice that not all formats have a request button next to it, and this just means that there are multiple records rolled into one that might have a different publisher, for example. To see all of those records listed, click on the format you need. So let's say we're looking for an audiobook. We would click audiobook. We most recommend selecting the entry that has the most records to increase your chances of the request being filled. You can see how many copies are owned under format. You see the material type, and we can see 2 owned. So let's scroll and find the one with the most. And here we have one that has 6 owned. So our recommendation would be that you request this one. To the right of the request icon, we also have the list option. This allows patrons to print, save, or email this title and any others that they may have added to their list on SHAREit. Now, let's learn and practice how to log in with our home library credentials by clicking on the Hello Guest, Please Log In at the upper right-hand corner. If your patron was redirected from their home library page, this Select Your Library should default to their library site. Next is barcode. This is simply your patron's library card number. And lastly, their PIN. The PIN is the password from your patron's library account. For most, it'll be the last 4 digits of their phone number. And when they're ready, they can press submit. Now that we are officially signed in, we can see our name at the upper right-hand corner, and we see your account. If you click on your account, we see some information about our account, and I specifically want to call your attention to the Your Items and Items from Other Libraries tab. This is where your patron will be able to see all of the materials that they currently have requested from SHAREit and their status. So for example, FMI Test Cocoa, the status is awaiting reply from 1 or more potential lending libraries. If your patron wants to know how many requests they're able to submit at once, we can also see that at the left-hand corner of this page. Each library was able to choose this amount, and so it'll vary by location. Now that we're all logged in, it's time to place a request on SHAREit as a patron. Because we are on a live site, we will be practicing with a FMI test record. So I will search FMI test in our search bar. And we will scroll through our results and find the item we are wanting to request. Once we find what we're looking for, let's say I would like to request FMI Test Summer Vacation. We will click Request and be redirected to this returnable request page. Let's walk through this form together. Patrons will be able to set their Deliver To location right here. We currently have few CCS libraries that are alive in Find More, Illinois, so we have blocked this option, but once all libraries are live, all CCS patrons will be able to choose any CCS library as their pickup location. Again, this is a test record, so we don't see many details now, but in a real request, the record and its information will auto-populate here, complete with title, author, publisher, physical description, and ISBN. This will be pulled directly from the record we selected, so our patrons will not need to manually input anything and can simply confirm that they're requesting the correct item by quickly reviewing this information. While most of the item record information auto-populates, there are a few sections that may require patron input. If a patron is requesting something that has multiple volumes, they will need to include which volumes they want in Volumes Needed. This is useful if a patron is requesting something like a manga that has multiple volume options. So let's say we are wanting to request volume 10. Under Volumes Needed, patrons can also update the need by date. By default, it is set to 21 days, but if a patron has a tighter deadline, they can adjust and request a quicker turnaround. Please note, patrons will not be able to set a need by date that is shorter than 7 days. Lastly, because we are logged in as our patron, all of our personal information has been pulled from our Polaris account, meaning, as we can see here, the patron will not need to manually input their name, library card, or contact information. However, they will need to add any patron notes they may have. If they don't have any notes, it's fine to leave this blank, but if they do, such as requesting an extended deadline, this is where they would put that. Again, the patron shouldn't need to add too much additional information to this form, but when all the fields are complete, they can press submit. Then they will receive a notification that SHAREit is searching for requests and find more Illinois libraries. They can press OK to close out of that. And as a reminder, if your patron wants to keep track of their requests, they can do that by clicking Your Account, going down to Items from Other Libraries, and those requests will auto-populate here after a few minutes. Thank you for watching this training on how to log in, search, and place requests through SHAREit as a patron. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at help@ccslib.org.